Welcome, beautiful Sigma ladies. The deadliest creatures aren't the ones who roar. They're the ones who don't need to. There's a strange kind of magic in a Sigma female's silence, the kind that makes even chaos second-guess itself. She doesn't crave the spotlight because she knows the real power lies behind the curtain. While others dance for validation, she studies the rhythm of the crowd and rewrites the entire performance without ever stepping on stage. Psychologists have found that people who blend in too well often possess the most complex inner worlds, not out of shyness, but strategy. The Sigma female lives this truth like a secret science. She's the storm disguised as a soft breeze, the chess master pretending to just enjoy the game. She walks through life like a rumor that never fully dies, subtle, unpredictable, and just mysterious enough to make people wonder if they ever truly knew her at all. And the funniest part? Most people think she's quiet. No, she's just busy being invisible while taking notes on everyone who isn't. Welcome to the world of the Sigma female, where hiding in plain sight isn't weakness, it's art. Number 1. She hides her power inside her restraint. A Sigma female's power doesn't announce itself. It waits, observes, and chooses its moment. In a world addicted to loud confidence and constant exposure, her calmness confuses people. They mistake her composure for passivity, not realizing that restraint is her most lethal weapon. While everyone else is busy reacting, defending, and proving, she's conserving energy, studying patterns, and calculating her next silent move. That's what makes her untouchable. She's never emotionally bankrupt because she never spends recklessly. She understands a rare truth. The louder people speak, the easier they are to read. Every overshare, every emotional outburst, every desperate need for recognition reveals a weakness. But she stays unreadable, not because she wants to be mysterious, but because she values control more than attention. When others try to provoke her, she doesn't give them the satisfaction of chaos. Her silence becomes their mirror, and in it they start to see themselves unravel. Restraint gives her power over time itself. She's never in a rush to prove her worth, never eager to react, never desperate to be chosen. That patience unsettles people because it makes her unpredictable. No one can manipulate what doesn't move on cue, and while they're busy trying to figure her out, she's already 3 decisions ahead, quiet, strategic, and invisible in plain sight. What most people don't realize is that restraint isn't suppression. It's intelligence in slow motion. It's knowing when to act, when to vanish, and when to let others reveal their intentions first. Her silence isn't empty, it's loaded. Every pause, every glance, every delayed response is a quiet form of dominance. So while the world screams for attention, the Sigma female sits back with a half smile, fully aware that real power doesn't need an audience. It just needs timing. And when she finally decides to move, the shift is so precise, so controlled, it leaves everyone wondering how someone so calm managed to outsmart the entire room without saying a word. Number 2. She doesn't hide from the world, she hides within it. The Sigma female doesn't vanish into isolation to feel powerful, she disappears inside the crowd itself. Her invisibility isn't about running away, it's about integration so seamless that no one realizes she's there, quietly watching everything unfold. She moves through life like background music, always present, rarely noticed, yet subtly shaping the atmosphere. While others withdraw to escape, she learns to exist among people without losing herself, mastering the rare skill of being both visible and unreadable. She knows the real danger isn't being seen, it's being understood too quickly. So she lets people think they've figured her out. She plays roles so naturally that everyone assumes they know her, when in truth they're only seeing the mask she allowed them to meet. She adapts to every environment, not by changing who she is, but by softening her edges just enough to blend. It's not deception, it's survival. The world feeds on exposure, and she's wise enough to know that the more they see, the easier she is to control. Her presence is subtle but influential. She doesn't need to dominate rooms to shape them. Her energy shifts the tone of conversations, the direction of attention, the flow of emotion, all without effort. It's the kind of quiet authority that doesn't scream power, but radiates it from underneath. By staying unseen, she becomes unavoidable. People can't explain why they're drawn to her or why her absence feels heavier than her presence, but that's the art of her camouflage. She influences reality from within it. This is what makes her so difficult to categorize. She doesn't belong to any circle, tribe, or label. She's part of the system and yet detached from it, moving fluidly between worlds without ever being owned by one. Her invisibility isn't weakness. It's her way of mastering the battlefield without ever being recognized as a player. She's not hiding from life. She's woven into it so perfectly that the world itself becomes her disguise. Number 3. She weaponizes ordinariness. The Sigma female doesn't chase the spotlight because she understands its hidden curse. Attention breeds imitation, envy, and unnecessary noise. Instead, she perfects the art of being unremarkable on the surface. She dresses in simplicity, speaks with calmness, and moves through rooms like a shadow mistaken for light. People overlook her because she allows them to. They think she's average, harmless, or just another quiet observer. But that's exactly the camouflage she wants. Her ordinariness is not a flaw, it's her armor. She knows that brilliance is magnetic, and magnets attract both metal and rust. When you shine too brightly, you draw not just admiration but vultures disguised as allies. So she dims her glow until she becomes invisible to those who feed on energy they didn't earn. It's not humility, it's self-preservation. She's seen what happens to people who crave constant validation. They become slaves to the applause, addicted to visibility, and trapped by their own image. The Sigma female refuses that cage. Her power lies in being underestimated. When people assume she's average, they expose their unguarded selves around her. They reveal secrets, weaknesses, and intentions, never realizing she's quietly collecting information they'd never hand to someone they considered a threat. That's her advantage. She wins before anyone even knows a game has started. Her ordinariness is a deliberate disguise, a strategy sharpened by observation and discipline. She's not trying to impress. She's calculating, conserving, and studying. While others waste time performing greatness, she builds it in silence. Then, when the moment calls, she moves with precision, shocking everyone who thought she was just another face in the crowd. The truth is, she's never been ordinary. She just learned that the most powerful way to rule the room is to make the room forget you were ever there, until your influence is too deep to erase. Number 4. She mirrors your rhythm, not your soul. A Sigma. Females' empathy is often mistaken for intimacy, but it's far more strategic than sentimental. When she mirrors someone, she isn't bonding, she's mapping. She studies tone, timing, and emotional tempo until she moves in sync with the person before her. It's a quiet form of psychological disarmament. Most people confuse that synchronization for connection, believing she truly understands them. And she does, but not in the way they think. She's not stepping into their soul, she's reading its pattern. Her empathy isn't a doorway into vulnerability. It's a disguise that protects her own. By blending with another person's emotional rhythm, she hides her true wavelength. No one ever gets close enough to decode what she really feels because she's too busy echoing their signals back at them. They end up talking, revealing, confessing, mistaking her calm for trust and her silence for understanding. What they don't realize is that she's collecting truth, not sharing it. The brilliance of her approach is subtlety. She doesn't force people to open up. She gives them the illusion that they're in control. Her mirrored responses make them feel safe, seen, and significant. That safety lowers defenses, and in that vulnerability, she learns everything she needs to know. But when the emotional transaction is complete, she quietly withdraws, leaving people wondering why they felt so exposed while she remained untouched. This is why so many find her magnetic, yet unknowable. She gives the warmth of understanding without the exposure of authenticity. It's not manipulation, it's precision, the mastery of emotional self-defense. She knows the world drains those who reveal too much, so she hides her truth behind empathy's reflection. People walk away thinking they've connected deeply with her, but in reality, they've only heard their own echoes played back perfectly. That's her genius. She makes you feel understood without ever being known. Number 5. She decodes people faster than they name themselves. A Sigma female doesn't need hours of conversation to understand someone. A glance, a tone, a hesitation in speech tells her everything she needs to know. Her intuition works like a high-speed scanner, picking up the smallest signals most people miss. The way someone avoids eye contact, how their laughter hides discomfort, or how their words try too hard to sound confident. She catches it all instantly. It's not magic, it's pattern recognition, sharpened by years of silence and observation. By the time someone introduces themselves, she's already seen the layers beneath the performance. She knows what they crave from the world, what they secretly resent, and what they're trying to hide behind their curated image. But she never exposes what she knows. She understands that the moment she reveals her awareness, people shift their masks and ruin the purity of what she's studying. So she smiles politely, nods, and lets them talk, unaware that she already read their emotional DNA. This quiet awareness gives her a quiet kind of control. While others rush to trust or reject, she takes her time. She knows who to keep close, who to keep distant, and who to keep watching. Her insight isn't about judgment, it's about strategy. She doesn't decode people to manipulate them. She decodes them to stay 2 steps ahead in a world that rewards deception. What makes her so dangerous is that she rarely acts on her knowledge immediately. She waits, collects, and observes patterns over time. When she finally does respond, her decisions look effortless, but they're built on layers of silent intelligence. People can't understand how she always seems to just know things, how she avoids toxic alliances, senses lies early, or exits situations before they explode. The truth is simple. While everyone else is busy talking, the Sigma female is listening, and in her silence, she's already 3 moves ahead of anyone still introducing themselves. Number 6. She hides behind empathy until it's time to strike. The Sigma. Female's empathy is her most deceptive strength. It's not the fragile, tear-soaked kind that drains her. It's the sharp, surgical kind that allows her to see exactly how people operate. She listens, observes, and comforts, all while building a quiet psychological map of everyone around her. People open up easily to her because she feels safe, calm, warm, and unthreatening. But what they don't realize is that her compassion is often a reconnaissance mission. She's not being soft, she's gathering data. When people mistake her understanding nature for naivety, they walk straight into her trap. They start to overshare, to underestimate her, to expose their insecurities in front of someone they think will never use them. What they fail to see is that she's studying human weakness the way a hunter studies movement, not to destroy, but to protect her territory with precision. She doesn't strike often, but when she does, it's decisive and untraceable. Her timing is lethal because it's always earned through patience. Her empathy makes her unpredictable. She can comfort you while quietly realizing you're lying. She can forgive you while already planning her exit. She can sit in silence while your guilt eats you alive. She doesn't need to confront. She just lets people reveal who they are. And once she's seen enough, she moves on or acts in ways that seem effortless but are deeply intentional. This is what makes her terrifying to manipulators. They mistake her gentleness for weakness, thinking they've found easy prey, only to discover she's been 2 emotional steps ahead the entire time. Her empathy doesn't make her vulnerable, it makes her aware. She understands emotions so deeply that she can weaponize calmness against chaos. By the time others realize she wasn't just listening, she was learning. It's already too late. Number 7. She knows charisma is a liability. The Sigma female understands that charisma, while powerful, is also dangerous. The moment people find you charming, they start to look closer. They analyze, dissect, and eventually predict you. And predictability is the death of power. She's seen how the world idolizes charm, how people use it like currency to buy influence and approval. But she knows the price. Once you depend on charm, you become a performer trapped in your own show. So she rejects the stage entirely. Instead of chasing attention, she cultivates mystery. She doesn't need to dazzle anyone, she'd rather leave them quietly intrigued. Her presence lingers not because she's loud or magnetic, but because she's an unanswered riddle. People remember her not for what she said, but for what she didn't. That restraint gives her an advantage. Curiosity lasts longer than admiration. Charm feeds ego. Silence feeds control. The Sigma female has no interest in entertaining or convincing anyone. She'd rather be misunderstood than overexposed. While charismatic people gather followers, she gathers data. While they perform for applause, she observes from the edges, watching how easily the crowd's affection turns to resentment when the spotlight shifts. She's learned that the moment people think they like you, they also start to feel entitled to you, your time, your energy, your essence. By keeping her energy neutral, she becomes ungraspable. No one can pin her down or define her. She doesn't sell herself through smiles or small talk because she knows influence built on charm is fragile. It fades, the second attention drifts elsewhere. Her power is quieter, deeper, and far more durable. She doesn't want to be the answer everyone applauds. She wants to be the question that keeps echoing in their minds long after she's gone. That's the difference. Charm wins the crowd for a moment, but mystery owns their thoughts forever. Number 8. She dismantles manipulation by pretending to play along the Sigma. Female doesn't expose manipulators, she studies them. When someone tries to control or deceive her, she doesn't fight back immediately or call them out. That would be too predictable, too emotional, and too revealing. Instead, she plays along just enough to make them feel secure in their illusion of power. She nods, listens, agrees, and watches, all while quietly dismantling their tactics from the inside. Her calmness is her camouflage, and her patience is the slow blade that cuts cleanest. Manipulators rely on reaction. They need emotional engagement to feed their control, anger, defensiveness, confusion. But the Sigma female gives them none of it. She acts like she's falling for their charm, their guilt trips, their carefully crafted stories, while secretly tracing every thread of their strategy. By the time they think they've won her over, she's already figured out what drives them, what they fear, and where their power truly lies. And when she finally moves, she doesn't retaliate with drama. She simply removes her presence, the one thing they can't manipulate once it's gone. Her ability to play along isn't compliance, it's precision. She understands that confrontation often exposes your hand too early, so she lets them talk, boast and believe in their cleverness, knowing that arrogance always makes people sloppy. It's in those moments of overconfidence that she learns the most, their insecurities, motives, and blind spots. Then, with surgical timing, she uses that knowledge to free herself or turn the situation in her favor. This is why she rarely gets trapped in toxic dynamics for long. Her stillness unnerves manipulators because it gives them nothing to work with. They can't predict silence. They can't twist calmness. And when they finally realize she was never under their spell, only observing it, the defeat cuts deeper because she didn't fight them. She simply outsmarted them on their own stage. Number 9. She plays dumb with surgical precision. When people assume the Sigma female doesn't know, she lets them. Not because she lacks intelligence, but because she understands that arrogance reveals more truth than honesty ever will. Pretending to be less aware allows her to observe people in their rawest form, unfiltered, unguarded, and unaware that they're being studied. She doesn't interrupt their assumptions. She records them. Every smirk, every patronizing comment, every attempt to teach her something she already knows becomes valuable data. This act isn't deception, it's strategy. She knows that the moment people think you're clever, they start hiding their real thoughts. But when they believe you're naive or uninformed, they speak freely, showing the full architecture of their ego. That's when she learns the hierarchy of a room. Who needs validation, who seeks control, and who secretly fears exposure. Playing dumb becomes her psychological microscope, letting her see where power truly sits and how it moves. The beauty of her method lies in restraint. She doesn't rush to correct, to prove, or to defend. That silence unnerves those desperate for recognition. They expect her to argue or impress, but she simply listens. A quiet act that makes arrogant people over-explain themselves into vulnerability. Her stillness becomes a mirror that exposes their insecurity, and by the time they realize she understood everything, the damage is already done. She's mapped their entire character without revealing a single thing about hers. Her ability to play dumb is a form of emotional aikido. She uses another person's overconfidence against them. She allows them to feel superior because superiority blinds. And once blinded, they show their weakness. To her, every underestimation is an opportunity, every insult a lesson, every dismissal a clue. She doesn't fight arrogance head-on. She dissects it, piece by piece, until it collapses under its own self-importance. Then, when the time comes, she reveals just enough intelligence to shift the balance, not with noise, but with precision that leaves everyone stunned. She knew all along. Number 10. She never competes in visible arenas. The Sigma female doesn't feel the need to prove herself in public. While the world celebrates applause, trophies, and recognition, she quietly works in the background, constructing her life on her own terms. She understands that visible arenas attract competition, jealousy, and unnecessary scrutiny. By avoiding them, she protects her energy and preserves the unpredictability that gives her an edge. She doesn't chase approval or public accolades because she knows that real influence isn't measured by likes, titles, or praise. It's measured by results, often unseen. Her empire grows silently. Every connection, every skill, every opportunity is nurtured carefully, without fanfare. People may underestimate her, assuming that because she doesn't boast or perform, she isn't doing anything at all. That's exactly the advantage she wants. By the time her impact becomes evident, it's irreversible. A network, a system, or an influence that has been carefully seeded and nurtured long before anyone noticed. She doesn't enter competitions, she transcends them. She knows the value of discretion. Public victories are fleeting, easily challenged, and often misunderstood. But influence built in shadows is resilient, adaptable, and immune to immediate judgment. While others scramble for attention, she invests her time in quiet mastery, leaving nothing to chance and little for the world to anticipate. This is why her power often seems sudden and inexplicable. People wonder how someone so understated managed to achieve so much, never realizing that her success was never a spectacle. It was always strategy. She doesn't need to compete for validation, because she doesn't define herself by it. By building in secrecy, she maintains freedom, autonomy, and control, turning invisibility into a weapon that ensures her influence is permanent, untouchable, and far beyond the reach of fleeting public opinion. Number 11. She speaks in codes. That only the perceptive can decode the Sigma female doesn't communicate in plain text. Her words are layered, each sentence carrying multiple meanings, a surface message for the world and a hidden signal for those she trusts or studies closely. She knows that most people only skim the surface of conversation, so she hides her intentions, insights, and warnings behind seemingly ordinary words. To the unobservant, she's just articulate, polite, or vague. To the perceptive, she's transmitting intelligence, testing reactions, and revealing truths in plain sight. Every conversation becomes a subtle test. She gauges attentiveness, emotional depth, and critical thinking by how someone interprets her words. Those who notice the subtext are often quietly elevated in her estimation, becoming allies or confidants. Those who miss it are left on the outside, unaware that she's already assessed them. This method allows her to operate without exposing herself unnecessarily. She doesn't waste energy explaining herself or clarifying intent. Only the attentive receive her true message. Her coded speech also acts as a shield. In a world where words can be used against you, she ensures that anyone attempting to manipulate, misinterpret, or misrepresent her has very little to work with. Even when she appears transparent, her layers remain hidden, making her thoughts and strategies nearly impossible to fully decode. It's not deceit, it's survival. By communicating selectively, she controls the flow of information and ensures that power remains in her hands. This approach makes her both intriguing and untouchable. People may admire her intelligence without understanding it, follow her reasoning without fully grasping it, and engage with her without ever being fully invited in. She filters attention, loyalty, and influence with precision, giving access only to those sharp enough to catch her meaning. In every word she speaks, there's purpose, subtlety, and control. A quiet reminder that with the Sigma female, nothing is ever accidental, and everything is observed. Number 12. She uses emotional invisibility as social armor. The Sigma female doesn't hide her emotions because she's cold. She hides them because she understands timing. She knows that reacting too quickly gives power away. Emotional predators, manipulators, and attention seekers depend on instant responses: anger, confusion, sympathy, anything they can use to steer the situation. But with her, they hit a wall of calm silence. She doesn't give them what they want when they want it. That delay alone disarms most people who are used to pulling strings and getting immediate reactions. Her control over her emotional timing is what keeps her untouchable. She feels everything deeply, but she refuses to show it until she's processed it privately. That makes her unreadable in moments where others would explode, cry, or over-explain. People can't tell if she's hurt, angry, or indifferent, and that mystery protects her. While others are busy revealing themselves through emotion, she's busy reading theirs, analyzing patterns, and deciding how much truth they deserve to see. This emotional invisibility isn't numbness, it's discipline. She doesn't suppress what she feels. She simply refuses to let others dictate when she feels it. That pause gives her control over every interaction. In that quiet space between stimulus and response, she calculates. By the time she chooses to react, her emotions have turned into strategy, not vulnerability, It's why she's so difficult to manipulate. Those who thrive on chaos or emotional confusion can't get traction with her. Their tricks, guilt, flattery, provocation, bounce off the calm surface she maintains. They get frustrated because they can't locate her emotional weak spot, unaware that she's deliberately concealed it beneath that silence. To the world, she may appear detached. But in truth, she's simply choosing when to show her humanity and when to wear her armor. And that's what makes her dangerous. She's not heartless. She's just impossible to control. She keeps her light dim around those addicted to attention. The Sigma female has no interest in competing with people who live for the spotlight. She understands that those addicted to attention are easy to read. Their every move is a performance for validation, and their self-worth depends on how loudly the world claps. So she lets them have the stage. She doesn't challenge their noise or try to match their energy. She simply steps back, offering them the audience they crave. While they're busy putting on a show, she's quietly studying everything: the patterns, the motives, the insecurities hiding beneath their glitter. Her silence disarms them. Attention seekers thrive on reaction, and without it, they start to spiral. But the Sigma female's calm gaze isn't applause, it's surveillance. Every exaggerated gesture, every humble brag, every forced laugh becomes data. She learns who they're trying to impress, who they secretly fear, and what cracks form in their confidence when no one's watching. The louder they get, the more transparent they become. By dimming her own light in their presence, she becomes invisible. And that's exactly where her power lies. While they fight to be noticed, she slips beneath the noise, free to observe, think, and plan without distraction. She doesn't need validation because her self-awareness already fuels her. The more others perform, the more she learns how the crowd moves, who's influenced by flattery, who's drawn to authority, who's bored by chaos. Eventually, when the attention-addicted exhaust themselves trying to maintain their performance, she's already gathered everything she needs to understand the social dynamics at play. Her quietness becomes strategy, her restraint a weapon. She knows when to speak, when to fade, and when to strike, always from a place of control. For her, dimming her light isn't about shrinking. It's about observing from the shadows while others burn themselves out trying to shine. And by the time the noise dies down, she's the only one left with clarity, composure, and the real power everyone else was too loud to see.